Good morning, everyone. I hope that I am audible.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Event Management Committee of the St. John College, welcome you all in celebrating our Independence Day. Tomorrow is the 15th of August, but we thought that our celebration should begin a day earlier, so we are celebrating our Independence Day today. So, what is Independence Day to all of us? We all have different aspirations, ideas, and ideals regarding what Independence Day is to us. So, it was few years back when maybe we didn't even have the idea about. There were some great freedom fighters, some great men, brave women who fought for this country to break away from the shackles of the British rule or the colonial rule that we have. So, for every one of us, independence means different. We are in this free country today that we are living in. We have the freedom that we enjoy, which most of the countries still are denied of. So, to begin with our day with this positive thought, I would give the chance to our student chairman, Viloto. Please take over the platform and begin our program. Thank you everyone for joining.
Hello. I'm
Yes, Viloto, you can begin the program.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
First of all, on behalf of the students, I want to welcome each and every one of you who have attended the program on this auspicious day. Before we start our program, I would like to briefly highlight the order of the program. Central College celebrates 74 Independence Day. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Resource person Dr. Ashutosh Singh, Amity School of Liberal Arts, Amity University, Rajasthan, Jaipur. Out of the program, time 10 a.m., day 14 August 2021. Chairperson Ryoto Kibami, BSc for 5th semester, that is myself. Invocation by Sunito G. Kiba, Finance Secretary of the Evangelical Union of St. John College. What is independence to me? First, we have Kokuto Vichishi from BA 5th semester. Second, followed by Nunglim Holm from BSc 5th semester. Now, coming to introduction of resource person from our Mistress J2 DB. Dr. Ashutosh Singh will be speaking on the theme Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And coming next to the next order of the program, declaration of the result, Sir Lamning Tong Loy, and we have a lot of thanks from Ms. Abirupa Bhattacharya, and we will end up with a benediction from Akito, the Evangelical Union Prayer Secretary. So before we start off the program, I would like to quote a poem from written by our famous Noble Retreat of Indian, who is none other than Rabindranath Tagore. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow dispute walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where where tireless striving stretches the arms towards perfection, where the clear streams of reason has not lost its way, into the Dairy Desert, sign of the dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into the heavens of freedom. My Father, let my country awake. Before I just would like to briefly give a highlight of the St. John College Dimapur. So to start with, St. John College Dimapur is located in, as we all know, it is located in Dimapur, near Duncan village, which is in Indian village. It was actually initiated by our Ma'am Mohammed Au and our late Mr. Stanislaw Au. They constructed the college and opened in 2006, and till now they lead with a vision, and the motto of our college is learn the truth. So before proceeding further to our program, I would like Mr. Ms. Sulito, the EU Finance Secretary, to help with the God's presence. Ms. Sulito, you can take your time.
Let me pray. Our most precious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this bread of life that you have blessed us with, Father. As today, Lord Father, our St. John College, along with the nation, unites our hearts to celebrate our 74th Independence Day, Lord. As we celebrate our freedom, Lord, help each and every of the individual to realize our duties and responsibilities towards our fellow beings, Lord. Help us utilize our freedom for the upliftment of our society, Lord Father. As we start off our program, Lord, let that be done according to your will, Lord Father. We commit our life and the program into your hands. In Jesus' most precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeto. May God bless you for your presence in the program as well. So, we would like to move on to the next. This is a short photo of note from students. Uh, so, the topic will be what is independence to me. So, each there's two students will be highlighting this idea of what is independence to me. So, firstly, I would like to give thanks to fifth semester, followed by Namli on ACP semester. If you take your time, one after another.
A very good morning to all. My name is Gupta VTC of BFS Mr. Paulson. Today I'll be delivering a speech on what independence is to me. To me, I believe that independence means freedom for each and every individual person to express themselves and able to use that freedom to learn, improve, express our thoughts and experience every single day. Independence for me is freedom. Freedom that satisfies your desire and mind to become more stronger, knowledgeable, and self-reliable, and yet does not separate us from our value. Independence means living your life to the fullest, to enjoy and do your best every single day for your life. It prepares us to become more bold and strong. Freedom teach us to live with harmony and peace and keeping in mind the freedom of others fellows too. As with freedoms come responsibility. Independent India celebrates its 74th Independence Day. But at present scenario, even after coming this far, many people still fight for their own freedom in a country, India, which has been independent for 74 years. We still fight, many people in India still fight with their own society, community, and communities with their own society and community for their own freedom. Still, many people haven't expressed their freedom, which they equally deserve the same like us. So, independence to me is freedom to stand for ourselves, express our thoughts, and make our own decisions and live like we desire. Independence is like treasure, which we find it, which When we find it, we must be resourceful and reasonable, and we must always spread the love and happiness and harmony for one another. Thank you, and a very happy Independence Day to all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ninglen from BSc 5th semester. Respected principal, teachers, and my dear friends, first of all, I wish you all a very happy Independence Day. I would like to speak a few words from the bottom of my heart on this occasion. Friends, today we are celebrating the 74th Independence Day. It is the most important and historic not only for us but all the citizens of India. So, this day remarks the celebration of freedom from the British Empire that rules our country for more than 200 years. Hence, to commemorate our historic freedom, we celebrate this day with full passion and energy all around the country. Thousands of brave hearts sacrificed their lives for the freedom of India. They fought tirelessly to achieve this freedom, and those who shaped the destiny with vision and wisdom. So, we are so fortunate that we are born in an independent country. It is important to reflect on who shaped the Indian dreams and how India has stood as a big home to the world, with glorious culture and tradition. The German scholar Max Miller also paid one of the greatest tribute to the Indian respective tradition and the Indian mind when he said, and I quote, if I were asked under what sky the human mind has most fully developed, some of its choices give has most deeply pondered on the greatest problem of life and found solution. I should point to India. As India discovered herself again, we need to come together to develop a nation of harmony, peace, and development. In celebrating our Independence Day, let us be aware that India belongs to each and every one of us to play a dynamic role in nation building. Let us all pledge dedication, commitment, and patriotism on the road to progress and develop not just for today, but all times to come. The Independence Day being just a reminder to all of us in commemorating the nation independence. Let us resolve to excel in our field of knowledge, fulfill our own dreams, our parents' dreams, and our teachers' dreams. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kubuto Vichishi from BSc 5th semester and Leonard Brown from BSc 5th semester. It was really an insightful idea that you have instilled in us. I hope, like every citizen of India, has been empowered by what you have said today. Now, I'd like to give time to Mrs. and Judy Devi to the introduction of the resource person. And we may kind of take time.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Very good morning to everyone. First of all, I wish you a very happy 74th Independence Day, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Respected principal, administrative head, my colleagues, and our chief guest, and my dearest student. It's my tremendous pleasure to introduce our guest of honor for this program. We are indeed privileged to have Dr. Asutosh Singh as our research person. Dr. Singh is currently working as assistant professor at Amity School of Liberal Arts, Amity University, Rajasthan, Jaipur, since 2019. Previously, he was the assistant professor at the School of Arts and Languages, Lovely Professional University, Punjab, from November 2017 to April 2019. He was also the assistant professor at Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar Central University, Satellite Campus, UP, from October 2016 to July 2017. He was also the assistant professor at Navodeshwar Law College, Lucknow, from July 2016 to September 2016 and July 2017 to October 2017. Dr. Singh has completed his PhD from Lucknow University in 2017 on the topic UN in the Dark Continent, a study on UN peacekeeping mission in Africa from 1990 to 2000. He has experience not only in teaching but also counseling and course development. Dr. Singh has published 3 research papers in Scopus and ABDC listed journal, 2 book chapters, 1 articles in Government Policy Institution, and 16 research papers in referred journal. He has presented many papers in national seminar and symposium. Dr. Singh has again many more achievements in different fields. His area of research interests are terrorism, military history, nuclear strategy, and security. So it's our proud privilege to have him as our research person. So on behalf of St. John College, I welcome you, sir, to this program. Thank you very much, sir, for giving your valuable time. So, sir, now you can take your time. Thank you.
Good morning to everybody. Am I audible? Am I audible to
Yes,
everyone?
yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. First of all, a very warm thank you from the bottom of my heart to St. John's College for having me as a resource person on this auspicious occasion of the 75th Independence Day. It is 74 years, but we must not forget that 1947, 15th August 1947 was the first Independence Day. So that makes it 75th this 2021, 15th August 2021. Now, the topic of India's independence, it's a very vast topic, and I'm sure all of you must have read something about India's independence movement and India's struggle towards independence. So I will not go into too much of detail regarding the nitty-gritties of various movements. And what I'll do is I'll take an overview of the different processes that were happening in India after 1857, leading up to 1947, and the alternate perspectives that are coming into picture today. Right? So I'll take not more than 20 minutes. Once my time is over, I would strongly encourage any one of you to come up with whatever questions you may have regarding the topic. Now, after 1857, there are 3 distinct processes that happen in Indian history. The first is what we call the Indian independence movement. The second is what we know as the nationalist movement. And the third is the revolutionary movement. So these are 3 very distinct processes which happen in British India after 1857. Of course, we all understand what the national movement is, the idea of India as a nation state coming into existence or taking hold among the masses of the common people in India. What we are more concerned with is the independence movement and the revolutionary movement. Now, when we talk about the independence movement, traditionally, it is understood that the Congress party was leading the Indian freedom movement and the move towards independence. To a great extent, this is true. And this, while it was initially an elite movement led by people who were mostly Western educated, most of whom were lawyers, it gradually moved under Mahatma Gandhi, who arrived back in India in 1915. It transformed under Mahatma Gandhi into a mass movement. And the contribution of Mahatma Gandhi truly lies in the transformation of this relatively niche movement, which was confined to a specific class of people, into a movement that had a much more grassroots appeal. So that is the greatest contribution of Mahatma Gandhi. Uh, but as we move ahead into history, there are 3 very important movements that are led by Mahatma Gandhi. The first movement, of course, is the non-cooperation movement of 1920, which is abruptly stopped after the incidents of Chauri Chaura in 1922, when policemen in a small village in eastern UP, known as Chauri Chaura, they are basically uh, shut into their police station, police chowki as it was called, and they were burnt alive. This is a very controversial event. Uh, of course, Mahatma Gandhi said that this was necessary. It was necessary to withdraw the non-cooperation movement after this event because the premise of the movement was that it was to be non-violent. And once violence had started, or the spiral of violence had started, it was essential to withdraw the movement, or else it may lose its moral ground. So the morality or the moral high ground was a very intrinsic aspect of the appeal of Satyagraha, as uh, it was popularized under Mahatma Gandhi. It was supported by Mahatma Gandhi that it should be withdrawn. Many of the Congress leadership opposed this movement, but because Mahatma Gandhi's stature was too large, uh, it was ultimately he who prevailed and the movement was withdrawn. About 5 years back, a book has come out on the events of Chauri Chora by a gentleman who is a local of that place, which presents a very alternate view of these events. So if anybody is interested, they can get in touch with me. I will refer the books to this particular book to them. It is in Hindi. I don't think it is in English yet. But that book presents a viewpoint that the event of Chauri Chora and the withdrawal and the entire picture that is presented to us today, that it was basically a mob that burnt the police station, may actually be a partial truth. There were other aspects, other local aspects which are playing a role in that, because of which the crowd acted the way in which it did. Nevertheless, the withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement and the Khilafat movement in 1922 uh, leads to a new stage in the Indian freedom movement of the 1920s, when India witnesses a series of communal riots. So communalism is something which rears this ugly head. Not that communal riots had not happened earlier, but communal riots of the type which happened in 1920 were earlier unheard of. Finally, the more important aspect is that when the non-cooperation movement was withdrawn, the British response towards Mahatma Gandhi is something which we must keep in mind. When the non-cooperation movement was withdrawn, the British government was extremely hesitant to arrest Mahatma Gandhi. And its treatment of Mahatma Gandhi is what we can only call as treatment with kids' gloves. It was extremely careful as to the way it treated Mahatma Gandhi after the immediate withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement. Just keep this in mind because this will come in important. It is an important thing which will be used for comparison later on. Now you come ahead to the civil disobedience movement. Mahatma Gandhi, after the long period of lull in the 1920s, after the withdrawal of the movement of the non-cooperation movement, Mahatma Gandhi had begun to feel that India was again ready, and the masses were again ready to be mobilized for another large movement, and that movement was the famous civil disobedience movement, or the Salt Satyagraha. Now, the Salt Satyagraha happened. You had the march from the Dharasana salt works, and Mahatma Gandhi marched to the salt mines and broke the salt law. After which he was promptly arrested. Right? So this is the big transformation which has happened in the British response. That Mahatma Gandhi was no longer the deterrent factor, or the presence of Mahatma Gandhi did not hold the same degree of deterrence to any action by the British authorities as it had earlier, 9 years back in 1922, when the non-cooperation movement was withdrawn. After the civil disobedience movement, you of course have the second roundtable conference. Mahatma Gandhi goes to London. The roundtable conference is a failure, leading up to the Pune Pact. And finally, you have the Government of India Act 1935, under which provincial assemblies were formed and elections were held in 1937 for those assemblies. So essentially, the provincial administration passed into the hands of the Indians. Now, when this act was passed, conservative elements in Britain, especially the Tories are, you may know, they are the conservative party in Britain. And Winston Churchill was very vocal about his displeasure about the passage of the Government of India Act 1935, as well as the earlier uh, uh, the Roundtable Conference and the visit of Mahatma Gandhi to Britain. Nevertheless, uh, The late 1930s are a very eventful period in world history as well as in Indian history. And after the formation of the Indian provincial assemblies, in 1939, the Second World War breaks out. Now I'm going through the topics a little quickly, just to because I have to come to a conclusion, and I have to summarize many other aspects which I feel are important. So, the declaration of the Second World War, the British government declares war on Germany on the 3rd of September, and next day on the 4th of September, the Indian Viceroy uh, declares war on Germany on behalf of the British Indian government without consulting the provincial assemblies. Now, this happens on the 4th of September 1939. And immediately afterwards, on the 5th of September, Mahatma Gandhi makes a statement. And that statement is that my heart pains, and I'm quoting Mahatma Gandhi. Uh, if you want, you can refer to this particular line in the Cultural History of India, uh, uh, volume 11. Now, this line is, my heart pains that England is at war with Germany, and it pains at the thought of London being attacked by German bombs. So this statement goes on to then continue that I would strongly support Britain in this hour of need because India's independence will come. Will it be after the destruction of Britain at the hands of Germany or the triumph of Britain over Germany and Italy? So Gandhiji basically extended his moral support against Nazism and fascism in Germany in support of the British Empire. There was no thought of any Quit India movement in 1939. This is what is important. On 7th of January 1942, Subhash Chandra Bose makes a radio broadcast on Radio Berlin. And after that broadcast, he basically appeals to Mahatma Gandhi and he says that we are going to start the War of Independence. And in this War of Independence, we would seek your blessings. So this happens on the 7th of January 1942. And of course, the radio broadcasts from Radio Berlin are going to become very popular in India. And it was clear to Mahatma Gandhi and to the Congress that the popularity of the common people was, or the popularity among the common people was now gradually shifting towards more radical elements such as Subhash Chandra Bose. And so, from a position that was supportive of the British government in 1942, in 1939, a decision is made to launch a all-out movement or all-out struggle for independence, which became known in history as the Quit India movement of 1942. Of course, it is important to point out that both the Muslim League as well as the Hindu Mahasabha, both of them opposed the Quit India movement. And the Quit India movement, ultimately, if you look back at its achievements, it is a failure. It did not succeed in doing anything. And in contrast to the civil disobedience movement, when Gandhiji was immediately arrested, here the leadership of the Congress, including Mahatma Gandhi, they are immediately arrested before the outbreak of the movement. So it is a preemptive arrest of all the senior leadership of the Congress party. So this is the change in the position of Mahatma Gandhi that the British held him in. From a position back in 1922 when they were scared to touch him, to a position where they arrested and threw him behind bars without a moment's hesitation. That too before the movement had started. So it is clear that Mahatma Gandhi's role and Mahatma Gandhi's position had drastically changed over a period of 20 years. This is the most important point. So when we ask ourselves the reason why India gained independence and what are the reasons, it is simply too simplistic to say that it was because of the movements that happened, only because of the movements that happened led by Mahatma Gandhi and the Congress, that India gained its independence. Of course, that is a cause, that is a very major reason, and the contribution of Mahatma Gandhi in establishing the mass movements in India cannot be written off at all. It is an extremely important aspect. But the reasons that go into India's independence are far more vast and far more complex. Now, coming to some of the other reasons which are not discussed as openly and deliberated so openly in our books as the causes of India's independence, I'll just go in a little bit into those. And some of those reasons are very international in origin. So, in 1940, 41, sorry, in 1941, you have got something known as the Atlantic Charter. The Atlantic Charter is signed between. It's not exactly signed. It is an unofficial understanding between Britain and USA. It is in August 1941. At this juncture, USA had not yet entered the war, and it is an understanding between Britain and USA about the nature of the world order that is going to emerge after the defeat of the Axis powers. So you must remember that in 1941, uh, Allied victory was still a long way off. Okay, it was a very long way off. In fact, in 1941, the Germans had invaded the Soviet Union in June, 22nd of June, 1941. You had Operation Barbarossa, in which German blitzkrieg tactics had been adopted on a very large scale, and the Germans had penetrated almost to the outskirts of Moscow. Similarly, the situation in North Africa was not doing so not so great for the Allies, and in the Eastern theater, Japan was clearly about to break out into the Pacific Ocean by its attack on Pearl Harbor. So this was a situation where British position was under serious threat, and it wanted all the help it could get. So Churchill went to America for help, not overt military help, but certainly covert military help and help in the form of resources. And the intention on the behalf of Churchill was that we can come to an understanding later on, once the war is over, depending on what the circumstances are at that time, we will decide what is to be done. So you have the Atlantic Charter, in which Britain agrees that it is going to grant self-determination to all the territories that are under its control. Right? So the Atlantic Charter is accepted in principle. In exchange, USA agrees to help Britain in the form of something like 40 or 41 destroyers, which is a kind of a naval warship, to assist Britain in its convoy system in the North Atlantic Ocean. And very soon, of course, you have the in December, 4 months later in December, you have the attack on Pearl Harbor, after which USA openly enters the war, first on the Pacific theater, and then in the European theater of operations. After the end of the war in 1945, it was clear to Britain that, considering the formation of the International Army, and the INA is, of course, the most prominent and the most important example, but there are also other examples in which Indian prisoners of war uh, had served in as units of the Wehrmacht, which was the German military in the Second World War. They had served under the German military as a separate unit consisting of Indian prisoners of war. So the reliability that the British had, or the trust that the British had on the British Indian Army, which was the preeminent instrument of British control over colonial India, had been seriously shaken. Uh, and it is very easy to just say that the INA was very small in size, and it represented a very small number of the British Indian Army. While that may be true, but the INA had tremendous sympathy among the troops of the British Indian Army. Okay, so while they may not have joined the INA while they were prisoners of war, there were many such examples where British Indian troops had not joined the INA. But there was certainly tremendous sympathy among the British Indian soldiers uh, towards the soldiers of the INA. There was tremendous opposition to the INA troops who had been captured after the war to be treated as traitors. Okay, so there was, of course, you had the famous Red Fort trials after that, and the very reason that the three under trials were acquitted by the British government was the reason that they feared an uprising among the British military if these these individuals who had been tried in the Red Fort trials, they were hanged. So you had a complete loss of trust on the primary instrument of power by the British government as a very important factor in their decision to withdraw from India at the end of the Second World War. Of course, you had the date given in the cabinet mission of 1948 for independence, and once Mountbatten comes to India, he decides to move up the date to August 1947. So it was a very hastily executed plan. It is still debated today as to what extent the fact that the date had been advanced from 1948 to August 1947 contributed to the bloodbath of the partition. It is felt by many quarters that had the deadline not been advanced, had it been done in a more methodical and systematic fashion, and the time had been taken by the British government, then maybe, while the partition was certainly inevitable, it was clear by 1946 that partition is inevitable, but at least the bloodbath may not have happened. So the way in which the British exited India, the way in which the partition was carried out, the way in which the partition of Punjab was carried out by uh, by a barrister who had never been to India, who had no sympathy for India. Uh, it was clear that the British did not have the Indian interest at heart, but rather their own interest while they were withdrawing from India. But nevertheless, the notion that India's independence came about only through peaceful means and only through non-violent struggle will be extremely, it will be uh, very wrong to say this, because in that situation you are basically not according the recognition to people who had laid down their lives and who had shed blood for their motherland. On this note, I would like to end my small uh, lecture, that you can call it a lecture. But the idea was to tell you that independence that we have got, it has been through a lot of sacrifice and a lot of blood and a lot of tears. So please value it. Please uh, understand its importance, and please don't take the rights you have lightly, because these rights have been given to us. They have been won to a lot of sacrifice and blood. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving us such an insightful thought on this Independence Day. Sir, with such a renowned person and resourceful person, I'm sure the audience has really leveraged their knowledge on this. And so I just want to throw the questions to the audience if there's any, if the audience might want to ask something about the independence or anything related. No, I'm sure the students or lecturers have something in their mind. So I give the time to the audience. If you have anything regarding about this independence or anything related to it, you may take your time. I just want to, is there anyone who wants to say something or ask something regarding about this, or know more if you want to clear doubts on this Independence Day, so just to enrich your history, knowledge of history of our country's Independence Day? Okay. Sir, I've got one question.
Yes, yes, Vivek.
This
What's the question?
Yes, sir. Sir, this is partly off the topic to be discussed, but I just wanted to, since you're speaking on this topic, there are some questions that arise, but briefly, I just want to ask, like, uh, as a citizen of Nagaland state,
As a state
what
citizen
do,
of?
as a citizen of the Nagaland state,
Okay.
inhabiting citizen of Nagaland state, there's been a prolonged discussion of these Naga political issues, and so since 1947, under Fizo's leadership, the NNC has announced an Independence Day on 14 August. So since the day, for your personal view, what views can you give on how what it meant to the country and what it meant to the citizens of the Nagaland, and how far have we progressed and what have and where are we going, sir?
Well, first of all, the Naga insurgency and the associated political issues of Nagaland, they are not my area of expertise. So I know something about it, but I don't know too much about it. So I would not like to comment upon it, therefore. But you are a domicile of Nagaland, but you're a citizen of India. You can't say that I'm a citizen of Nagaland, because when you go outside India, you are issued with an Indian passport. You don't carry a Naga passport. So you're a domicile of a state. You are a citizen of a nation state. So that is how it is. So the word citizen of a state of Nagaland is not appropriate, in my understanding.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, I would like to move on to the next item. Uh, Actually, we have the event organizing committee has hosted a artistic event in a college in celebration of this 74th Independence Day, and there were various competitions that was held, and so that we have now declaration of result from Sir Lam Tim Kong Chong Le. Sir, you may take your time.
Hello. Yeah, I think you can see my presentation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Good day, everyone, and a very happy Independence Day to each and every one of you. And I now, on behalf of the organizing committee of this program, I would like to declare the results of the different items that we had for competition. So without taking much time, I will just move directly to the declarations of the results. We have four items of competitions: slogan and poster. We have painting. We have poem, and we have think outside the box. That is creativity. So let's move on to the results of the slogan and poster. For the slogan and poster, first goes to Yalem Connect of BA first semester, Department of English. You can just have a look. ELM Connect of BA first semester, Department of English. Second goes to Akivito of BA fifth semester, Department of Chemistry. Akivito of BA fifth semester, Department of Chemistry. Second for poster and slogan. Now we have painting. For painting, first goes to Akatuli Asumi of BA fifth semester, Department of English. And for the kind information for this item of painting, we just have received only one participant. So she is Akatuli Asumi of BA fifth semester, Department of English. Let's move on to the next item, that is poetry. For poetry, the first goes to Smita Rai of BA fifth semester, Department of Political Science. You can just have a look of what she wrote. I think it will take much time if I read out those. It's around 3 or 4 pages. So we just would like to declare this the results. And if somebody wants to read what she has written, even for the first and second, you may contact the event management committee, and we can just pass the articles if somebody wants to read it. So for poem, The first goes to Smita Rai of BA 5th semester, Department of Political Science. Second goes to Im Kong Tila of BA 1st semester, Department of Economics. That is for poetry. Im Kong Tila of BA 1st semester, Department of Economics. Let's move on to the next. Think outside the box. That is mostly related with the creativity. First goes to Akatuli Asumi of the 5th semester, Department of English. Actually, she has sent these articles in a video format, but it's not possible for us to give the results in a video format. So we have even the results as approved. So anybody wants to watch, then we can just provide you even the videos as well. So first, creativity, that is think outside the box, goes to Akatuli Asumi of BF 5th semester, Department of English. Second, for creativity goes to Wati Yangla Imchen of BF 5th semester, Department of Education. Wati Yangla Imchen of BF 5th semester, Department of Education. Second, for think outside the box, that is creativity. So that is all about the items of the competitions that we have and the results. So thank you so much. And the chairperson can take the time again back.
Okay, thank you, sir, for taking the time to highlight the winner participants of this event. I want to congratulate each and every one, and especially to the winners of this participant for taking up for winning this specific participants event you have participated in. Now, moving on to the next item, I want to give time to Miss Biruba for a word of thanks. Ma'am, you can take your time.
Thank you, Viloto. So, to begin with the vote of thanks, I would like to first mention our resource person, Sir Ashutosh Singh. And thank you so much, sir,
It was
for
an honor.
such a
Thank you.
perceptive and sublime lecture that you have given us. And I'm sure that your lecture was so wonderful and great that our concepts regarding freedom struggle and independence was clear. So I guess that's why most of us did not have a question. And we really hope that we would have another session of such a great historical lecture in future again. Thank you so much, sir, for joining with us today, for giving your valuable
It was a
time,
pleasure, Biruba. Thank you.
and thank you, sir. And I'm sure that your perceptive lecture has gained so much of knowledge for our students as well. And also, sir, individually as a teacher of history, I have also learned a lot. Thank you so much, sir, for your great time too. And also from behalf of the event management and the St. John College, I thank you wholeheartedly for joining with us today in celebrating our Independence Day.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I would also like to thank our principal, sir, S.T. Genesius, who has always supported and helped us and constantly supported our event management committee to do some great events and come up with some bright ideas and to also make it a success. I would also like to thank each and every member of the event management committee whose minute contribution have made this success, and also those students who have contributed their small ways into the event, who have taken out their time in spite of being in remote areas of the state. They have sent their work, which were wonderful. Even if you have not won first or second, we appreciate your work. Your work was great. And for those who have won, congratulations. Please, your certificates will be read in the college. You can come and collect it from your respective departments. And all the best for your future. And I hope that you've learned a lot. So thank you, and wishing everyone a great happy Independence Day.
I'm very happy to this to
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure people and the students who have participated here has really validated from your words of gratitude and appreciation. Now, coming to the end of the program, I would like to and give the time to Mr. Akito, the First Secretary of Evangelical Union, to enroll us with a benediction. Mr. Akito, you can take your time.
Let me pray. Almighty Father, as we come to the end of our time together, we thank you for what has been accomplished today. We thank you for the time you have given us to celebrate our history and revealing in all the great things that our country has achieved, Lord Father. We thank you for the blessing of liberty for this generation and for the generation to come. We thank you for our independence and peace, Lord Father. Everything that we are, we lay our lives before you, Father. Make us a generous people, a holy nation, Lord Father. I pray for those participants who have took part in this very program. You bless each one of them and continue to use them even in the coming days, Lord Father. As we wind up, we ask that you continue to lead and guide us for the sake of your holy and precious name with thanksgiving. I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Akito. May God bless you, your future endeavors. We have come to the end of the program, and I would like to thank the event management committee, the administration, for hosting this event for the audience to celebrate this 75th Independence Day. And I would also like to thank the resource person for taking this time to give us some insightful thoughts on this Independence Day that our college has hosted. And to the student participants, also those who have participated in this event and those who have taken the time to be in this event, and the audience as well, thank you for your presence, and it has really validated this event. And now we have come to this program. We can leave your time. Now you can leave the program. Thank you so much, everyone.